Okay guys, so in this one we are going to update our edit profile to looking a little bit more like this. So changing this page to look more like, with the different tabs. Okay, so to do that we have to go back into our project, into your edit profile. Let's make sure that these are actually running. So back into our views, we need to just copy these and put it into edit profile. Don't worry about validating or anything like that quite yet. We are going to handle that later. First, we're going to just kind of set it up in a way that looks better. Okay, if we do a refresh, global addresses is not defined. Oh yes, we need to make sure that we're pulling in these things too. I realize we're kind of going backwards because we already deleted a bunch of this stuff, but I think this format will actually look better overall. Okay, so now we have all the forms coming through, and if we go into edit profile, we'll see this stuff. And we actually want to go into our base, so open up base.html, right? Scroll down to the bottom, script source. Oh, make sure that this says bootstrap if you spelt it incorrectly like I did. And we're also going to add a new script. Source equals, we want to get the jQuery library. So let's just leave that empty for now. And then we'll do another one called script, and we'll go document ready, and then function. And we're going to call this a jQuery block. jQuery block. Oh, oops. Excuse me. Block jQuery. And that's so we can put jQuery functions within each template. Okay, so now we need to make sure that we have that jQuery source. So let's actually just go into jQuery.com here. We're going to scroll down. We are going to get the CDN version, or the Content Delivery Network. That means that we're going to have basically a version that a lot of people will download on other websites. It just helps move things along a little bit faster. So cool. Now we have that. And let's make sure that our jQuery is working just by going alert, working. And if we go back into our project, do a refresh. Cool. So the jQuery is working. We got that part down, so we can get rid of that. All right. So back into edit profile, we need to grab this JavaScript right here. This is in the format of jQuery, so block jQuery and in block. Okay, so now we have these tabs basically loading when we want them to. And if you scroll down, we can actually just grab these two right here, copy that, and we're going to put it into our block content. So in the home tab, let's grab the picture row. We'll just put that instead of those dots. Put that there. And then the next one, profile, we will change all these things, but let's just do an example. We'll do that. And then messages will be address. So we can just say picture, and then we'll say jobs, and then we'll say addresses. Okay. And we can get rid of, let's put this button, this one button down in with the form row. And the form itself, we will put in with home, and underneath the button, we'll close out the form. Okay. And we'll get rid of that last form. Okay, so save it. Let's go back in here and do a quick refresh. If we hit the different buttons, there it goes. Settings just does ... because we didn't actually change it. Home, it says picture. Profile says jobs. Messages says addresses. And settings is nothing. Cool. So now we need to actually make forms for each one of these. But before we do that, let's actually change all the tabs. So we'll just call home to edit. and then we'll call profile, we'll call it jobs, and we'll change the link to jobs, and then the ID down here to jobs, and then the next one will be addresses. Actually, let's change that to locations, and then locations, 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 and we'll get rid of this last settings tab. We don't want that for now. We can always add more later if we decide. All right, so edit, jobs, locations. Okay, cool. That's starting to come together a little bit. Well, within the row, we can still do the div class column large 12. Refresh, it will line it up a little bit better. So we can come back to that at another time. Now we need to make a form that actually goes through each form. So this form right here is going to be its own form. There's going to be a form here, and then there's going to be a form there. But we need them to activate with different views, and that's where these are going to come in. So we go back into our settings on our profile. We need to make sure that we have the form set up correctly. And let's just indent some things here just so we can see it a little bit cleaner. All I'm doing is pressing tab. So this div is right there. Okay, cool. So let's indent these a little bit. Oops. Okay, so as far as jobs go, now we need to do a form, and then we'll do method equals to post, and action, we are going to do edit jobs. Let's just leave that as is for now. We actually haven't activated that quite yet, but we will. And then in here, we will have to have its own token, and we also want to have this same column go in here. So underneath the form, oops, div. Okay, so again, we can tab this stuff in just to make it a little bit cleaner so we can see what's going on. Because with all these div tabs, we want to make sure that we're closing everything, of course. That's one of the things about HTML is you need to make sure you close everything. So we could actually just copy this whole inside row and bring that down into this row and just change the name of the form set. That will save us a little bit of time. Okay, so let's go back into our Chrome, and if we go to jobs, nothing looks like it changed. We actually don't even have the update button. So we'll go and add that, input class update within the form. And of course for addresses, we'll do locations. So edit to locations. So this action means that it's submitting it to there. So if we go scroll down to jobs and we hit that, it submits it to edit/jobs. Now, with this relative path, that's actually not what we want. We want it to be an absolute path. So we just change that. Oops. And we go to jobs and we hit update, and let's do a refresh again one more time. Okay, so then we hit update, and now it goes to absolute. Okay, so these absolute locations, now it's submitting it to a different page than where we're at. So if we go here, it's edit will work. Management form has been tampered with. We'll have to worry about that shortly. But we want it to actually submit in other areas. And for now, we're just going to leave this. We're not going to finish the submit part quite yet. But what we will do is we're going to show you how to have the instance of the forms that are already there showing. So we don't have to we can see edit over here, and then we can see the ones that are active over there. Just make it a little bit cleaner. So to do that, we need to iterate through each item of the form set. So for item in form set J, and then we will do N4 and put this in a div class column large 6, And we'll do item. Might as well do an ordered list here outside of the form, and then just do a list item for each item. And we can do item.position and maybe item.employer. Then go back into our thing here. If we do a refresh, we see that, but we want the instance. We don't want the actual form itself, which it's rendering the form. So we'll do item.instance and then item.instance.employer. If we refresh that, we have it. So I don't like how there's an empty row here. We have that because we have this extra part there. So what we're going to do is, within here, we're going to do if item instance position then we'll go back into Chrome, do refresh, and now that number goes away. Cool. So we have the jobs, and then also on the side here what we can edit for those jobs. So of course there is going to be a way that we can have these kind of work together a little bit better, where they're like crunched together, where you can click edit and then it shows this form instead of just having all that form showed up. But you can repeat this exact same thing for the address or the locations, and all we need to do is just copy this div here, put it above this one, and then we will change that form set to form set A. And we'll go back in here, do a refresh, locations. Okay, well, the reason it's not coming through is because we have position, which we want to change to street address and city. Save that, go back into Chrome, do a refresh, go to locations. There we go. We got street address and city, and we have jobs. Cool. So in the next one, we'll actually save new information as it comes in. All right, see you then.